Hey, 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 welcome to Becoming a Powerhouse Brand podcast. I'm Jacquie Laws, personal brand visibility and empowerment mentor for heart-led, impact-driven entrepreneurs who know they are here to change lives with their magic and build a dream life by design while they do it. This is where we blend soul, strategy and subconscious work to help you stand out as the leader you already are. We talk identity shifts, confidence, energetics, and the real behind the scenes of building a brand that feels aligned, magnetic, and apologetically you. If you are ready to take center stage in your life and business, you are in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I've got the lovely Samantha Hearne on, and we are going to be talking about the identity shift that happens when you are growing and scaling a business and you become a mother. Like, I talk about my journey all the time about how I started my business when I had a tiny newborn baby. So I've only known business with having a tiny person. But obviously, when you've got to a point like Sam, who is going to share in a second, you've scaled your business, things are going really, really well. And then your entire world changes when that moment hits and you have become a mum. So Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Excited. Just so that people can hear what you're all about, what your background is, could you just give us a bit of an insight into who you are, what you do, and how you've got to where you are now?
My name's Sam and I am a business mentor, and I was a teacher for 10 years. I left teaching I started my first business in 2016 in anxiety and mental health coaching. I left teaching in 2018 when that business had done really, really well. And then I went into business mentoring from 2018 and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
Amazing. I know, whistle stop tour, but that is your synopsis.
I love it. So you started your business before you'd become a mum.
Yeah,
and obviously
6 years before I became a mum.
Yeah, so your business, like, you'd scaled it, like you were already very successful in what it was that you were doing.
Yeah, I started my business in 2016 and I didn't have my daughter until the very end of 2022. So 2023, really, January 2023, I came back to work. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 6 years, before I became a mum. I built a business, built a brand, done really well, had a team, was traveling around the world, had sellout programs, best-selling book, podcast, all sorts. So by the time I had my daughter, my business was already its own kind of like conglomerate, shall we say. So it was its own like beast. And then I had my daughter.
But it wasn't just kind of the typical process that you would think of when you become a mum. I know you went down the route of IVF, so juggling that with obviously scaling your business. Like, how on earth did you manage that? Because I know from people I've spoken to that have gone through that journey, it is a lot. Like, it shifts everything in you, and that's even before you've become a mum. So how did you manage going through that process?
Well, I started my first business because I wasn't getting pregnant. So the whole time I ran a business, I wanted to be a mum, and it wasn't happening. So I had 6 years of creating unbelievable success, and still every month not being pregnant. Like, it was just the polarizing reality of my life was a constant reminder. You know, I was super successful, everything on paper looked great, but I wasn't getting pregnant. And there was no reason. Like, 1 in 4 couples just have unexplained infertility. You know, we had all the tests done, we went private, there was absolutely no reason. And I don't know if that's better or worse, really. I've got friends that have had fertility journeys, and there's been different reasons and different processes, and it is hard, whatever the scenario. But I think that was harder for us, that there was nothing we could do. There was no problem to solve. And then IVF, we actually started IVF. We had our first set of funding come through in 2022, and then they lost our paperwork, and we had to go back to the beginning. And then we had COVID, and then we got back into the system. So even our journey with IVF was a complete joke, to be honest. Like, lost our paperwork, got everything wrong, and then we had to start again. But the actual experience of IVF was really positive. I had a really good experience of IVF. And of course, and I think that's really important to say, because before you go through it, it is really daunting and you have no idea what you're going to be doing. And it's so intense. You're in for scans every other day. You're doing injections like 3 times a day. It's a lot. But my experience of it was really positive. So I think that's important to say. But yeah, we went down the IVF route and it worked first time. So that was, yeah,
Amazing.
amazing. And I'm so happy. But yeah, so now I have a child, she's 3.5, and it's, yeah, things are very different now.
Amazing. And like travel's always been a big thing for you, hasn't it? So how did you
Yeah.
go from having this amazing business, traveling, and then obviously you found out you were pregnant and you became a mum? Like, what shifts did you notice? Obviously, massive shifts in your life, but in your business, how did that impact everything?
Yeah, so we've always traveled. I've been traveling my whole life, and my husband's the same. So that's definitely a love language. We love travel. And even when I was a teacher, we travel 8 times a year. We were always going on adventures. We've seen the whole world. Like, it's been amazing. But so's my daughter. So she's been all over. She's been to, I think, 15 countries. She's been to the Faroe Islands. She's been all over America. And that's a big part of our life. So that probably, of course, it changed because I didn't breastfeed. So I had to pack enough milk to last like 2 weeks, nappies, but buggies, obviously the way we traveled changed. But that was still something that we really did try to commit to. Luke turned 40 when she was 4 months old. No, 14 months old. So we did an American road trip. Obviously, it looked a bit different and you're navigating nap times and things like that. But we've tried to keep travel as part of our life and for her and her experiences. But my personal life, my business, my time, my flexibility, that's completely unrecognizable. Like it's totally incomparable. Running a business before I became a mum to now, you absolutely cannot in any way compare the two. It's a completely different world. This is the Wild West.
Yeah. How did you find that you adapted fairly quickly to that, or was it like a learning curve that you had to go through to really shift how you were running your business? I know you're all about building a sustainable business that works around you, allows you to create the freedom that you want. So how did you notice that shifted for you when you had a tiny baby?
Yeah, I mean, so before I had her in 2020, I changed my business model. So I didn't work Fridays and I didn't work the final week of the month. So for 2 years, I'd already created a business that was quote unquote part-time hours because I wanted more of that spaciousness for myself. So that's one thing I was really glad I did before I became a mum, because I'd already built that into my way of working and I built that into my boundaries. But the transition into running my business as a mum was really tough. My pregnancy was super easy and I loved being pregnant, but my birth was horrendous. It was really bad. So I did for about a year. I had PTSD and postnatal anxiety. It was like not great, but I had a business that I didn't get any cover from. I didn't get maternity. I didn't get anything. So, like most of us, there wasn't really much choice involved as to what my options were. I needed to be able to work and earn, as we all do. I needed to be able to pay my mortgage and etc. But it was a lot harder. I couldn't go to events. I couldn't be seen at everything. I couldn't go to anything, nor did I want to. I've got this tiny baby, but the landscape of how I could run my business was not the same. Even if I wanted it to be the same, it couldn't be, because I now had to look after my child and I didn't have the same flexibility and freedom, and we don't have a support network. So it's just between Luke and I, really, and my father-in-law, who still works full-time. We've got no one else. So there wasn't the village that people speak of. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
And that was hard. Plus, we also don't have a stereotypical situation. I didn't get 6 to 9 months maternity. I run my own business. It's very different what our setup is. So I would say I've always worked with incredible women, and most of my clients have always been mums because of the age bracket that I'm in. So all of my clients were amazing, but it was my lack of flexibility and my lack of time. I couldn't work the same hours I used to. I didn't have the same days available. I didn't have childcare. I couldn't operate the business in the way that I wanted to with the time that I had. And that was hard. And my lack of autonomy was a massive transition. So yeah, I didn't find I didn't find not being able to work all the time difficult because I already wasn't doing it. But what I did find difficult was I couldn't work in the way that I always had, because that was the restriction. So there were parts that I was like, okay, cool, this is a variation of what I've already built. But then there was also parts of me that was like, you're just so restricted. You're so tied down by something that you cannot not prioritize.
Yeah.
And of course I wanted to, but I did also need to work.
Yeah.
Like, so it was that, like it was just a constant, what's the word, like internal conflict almost.
Yeah.
What
I was
do I
going to say,
do?
it's like a real battle with yourself,
Yeah,
isn't it? You've got
yeah,
this
yeah.
drive for creating that success. You'd already obviously built up your business to a point where it was going great. And then to completely have that shift. And it's the identity shift as well. I talk about this a lot, of that moment that you become a mum, your entire world changes in an instant, and nothing can prepare you for that, because you've got no experience of what it was like before, or like what it's going to be like. You have this imaginary vision of what it's going to look like, don't you? You're like, oh, it's going to be amazing, everything will be the same but so much better, and there's going to be hearts everywhere, and it's all going to be lovely and romantic, and it's just not that, is it?
It's just not. Do you know, the thing is though, that I would say that's really difficult, because I had an interview about this even last night, and I said, when you're pregnant and everyone knows that you're pregnant, obviously you do get some people that are like, oh, just fake this and that, but most mums, you don't want to burst that bubble for someone, because it's so amazing. Like, it's so, when you're pregnant, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have this baby, and we're gonna like sit in coffee shops, and I'm gonna go on walks, and I'm gonna have all my mum for a day. It's amazing. And no one that's on the other side that has the other version of that truth, which is still the same, but there's also the reality coupled with it. You don't want to be the one that is saying, oh, but
Yeah.
so it's hard, because you get to the other side and you're like, why did no one tell me? But of course no one told you, because you that's the only bit that's like magical, and you're like, oh my god, your bump's cute, and you have a bump shoot, and you're loving it, and then, oh, it's going to be great. And then it's just every child is different. And even I had it, of course, like, this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to be great. And then I had friends that were like, why are you doing this, and why are you doing that? And then they've become parents, and they're like, wow. So I just think I think it's really, really hard, because you have compassion for the person that hasn't been through it yet, but you also have the reality that you don't want to share that yet, because you want them to be excited. So it's never going to improve, because no one's going to burst that bubble for someone. So whenever you then do go through the portal, your initial reality is wildly different. And as much as you want to be the person that says, oh, I really want you to be more prepared, you just can't.
Yeah.
You just can't stop someone going through that. It's a bit like when your kid's learning to walk and they fall over. You can't stop them falling over because they need to learn to walk. It's like that. Like a new mum, you can't stop her going through the pits of night times and being awake and like just feeling like, what has happened to me? And I've got constant jet lag, even though I've never been anywhere. You kind of have to go through that. So it is. It's a real identity shift, but it's also one that you can't protect someone from, even if you wanted to.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing, and they always say, don't they, it's like the best thing in the life, but also the most challenging. It's like running a marathon a million times over, constantly, just on repeat. And every single stage, like life stage that they go through, makes it even more, comes with its own challenges, doesn't it?
For sure.
How did your sort of boundaries and definition of success change when you became a mum, when you started to take this kind of different section or phase of your business? I feel like success is one of those things that you see what you think success is, but actually success is different for everybody, isn't it? So I would love to know from someone that had a business before you became a mum, and then obviously you had that change in your whole life situation. How did that change for you in terms of the success?
I think for me, it didn't actually. It became stronger, because my childhood and my upbringing was very, very different to what my daughter was going to have and has got. So it actually verified for me why I wanted to do it. because I don't have a relationship with my mum. Really, it's neutral. We're not. We text every now and then, but she moved to Jamaica when I was 21, but she left the family home when I was 7. So I've always been an advocate for creating the best I can. You know, I went to uni and I was like, I'm going to get a first class honours degree. I'm going to graduate first in my class. And I did. I became a teacher. I was like, I'm going to get a promotion. Like I was always very pro create the best for your life. Like just do what everyone thinks you can't do, go and do it. So and of course, some of that is a trauma response. And, you know, there's the validation of like my self-worth and all of that wrapped in there. But some of that is actually just my truth. And I'm very competitive and I like doing well. And, you know, when I had my daughter, there was, of course, I changed and she's my priority. And I also, we fought so much to get her. And because of my upbringing, and my childhood, there was a lot wrapped up in I just want her to be happy all the time. I just want her to be like loved so much. And like there was a lot of, you know, and I had to work for a lot of that because I also need to let her be resilient and get things wrong and all of that. But there was all of that tied into it. But more than that I was actually more reminded of how on earth could you not want them to have the best of everything? Like, how did this happen? So it didn't change my definition of success. That's still the same. Like I still wanted to be my own person that was creating I wanted my ambition to always be like nurtured. And also my husband, who's always been like a male ally, he always wanted that. And he was like, you know, he was always supporting that. But so my drive and my ambition for success didn't change, and what I wanted didn't change. However, my drive for balance and calm and fulfillment also increased. I didn't have the same freedom that I had before I was a mum, but I also didn't have the love that I have now. I didn't have the restriction, but I also didn't have the family. So it didn't change what I wanted to achieve ever. And I still want that now, but it did change what that would mean for me. Like before, it was a bit about the ego, you know, of course it was about like, let's just make the money and do all the things and be the best. Whereas now it's about her legacy, her future. So I still want to create wild money. I still want to do all of those things, but now it just has a different grounded, calm, like loving meaning behind it. So it's definitely softened me. Motherhood softened me, but it hasn't changed my vision.
Yeah. I think one of the things I hear the most from mums is the guilt. It's that guilt of I've got this massive goal, this massive vision. I know I'm going to create this amazing thing, but also I'm in this phase of life where I do need to be more present with the kids. And it's that like yin yang, isn't it? It's just like you feel like you're being pulled in all these different directions. And I think what I love about everything that you share is you create this incredible sustainable business model that works really well for you. You empower other people to do the same thing, but actually for you, like it's so clear from your content, everything, that family is like absolutely your number one. And I think it's just so refreshing to see that you can absolutely create both. You don't have to choose. And I think, what would you say to somebody that is listening to this today that is thinking, I just feel like I'm having to choose between the two? Because I feel like you've probably gone through stages where you've had that guilt, but actually like what you've created is kind of a beautiful balance of the both.
You know what? It's really interesting you say that, because I've definitely found my own introspection with this. So I've always whenever I've had like a card reading or tarot or Reiki or anything, I have always been told that I'm meant for more. I've always been told that I'm meant to lead. I'm meant to be like an advocate for change. Like I'm meant to be this, like, you know, light. I've always been told that. And I also feel that. I've always felt that. Even when I was a teacher in the classroom, I always felt like I was meant to make a difference. And I've had, even recently, I work with a client who she deals with energy in past lives. And she was like, this is in your lineage, like all of your past lives, you've had this. You've been, you're, you know, anyway. I digress slightly.
I'm getting goosebumps already, just you saying.
Yeah. Like it was like, you know, and you're like, it's sort of, and I do feel like that whenever I'm asked about like women or now motherhood, I always say in a past life, I think I would have been a suffragette. I would have been throwing myself in front of the horse. Like I always say that phrase. I'm like, I definitely, this is not the first time I've been like fighting this fight. I've always had that. And I'm very irrationally passionate about this type of thing. So it's like, I can't just have got this from now, you know. Anyway, so over time, I've had all these sessions, and, you know, since I was like 18, I saw my first medium when I was 18. And anytime I see people or meet people, it's always been feedback I've got. Like even when I met Luke when I was 20, and he was like, "You're an alien. I don't know anyone that can function like you. Like, how do you never run out of ideas, or how do you not burn out? Like, how is this happening?" So it's always been around me. And then when I became a mum, I almost tried really hard to protect the brand I built before I was a mum, because I knew that worked. I knew that worked, right? It's been validated. And of course I can be, as much as the spirit side, I'm very logical. So I'm like, okay, look, we know that works and that's what people wanted. We've got to try and be that. And in more recent times, definitely since my daughter's got older and like now she's a little person, I mean, this is the other irony, isn't it? We think the newborn phase is the hardest until we have a toddler. We think the toddler is the hardest until we have them at school, then at school, and then a teenager. So it's that whole thing, isn't it? The beauty of motherhood is what lies in what you don't know, and then when you have the hindsight, is gone. But I definitely, to talk to this about the guilt and the balance and everything, I have, since I became a mum, there's been all these signs from the universe, from clients, from friends, from myself, from my experiences, where people are saying, I want to learn how you do it. And I just haven't shared that. Unless you're in my world and I'm having these conversations, I just haven't shared it. And about a month ago, it just got too loud for me to ignore anymore. And I was like, I just, for so many reasons. But anyway, so I do believe that I have the key that a lot of women need to unlock this answer, you know. Like I do believe that. I do know how to have both and create both. And yes, I did have the luxury of building the business before I had a baby, so obviously there was quite a lot of like clout behind me, but I do feel like I've got that. Like how do you find the balance? How do you get to have both? And my daughter's with me. I'm the default parent. She's with me 2.5 days in the work week. I only work Monday, Tuesday, and then a Wednesday morning. So the balance has, since she was little, I only worked 1 day a week until she was 1, but I still had a full client rota. I was, you know, so I feel like now I am listening to that calling a bit more. So when you ask that question, you know, what would you say? I've always known the answer, Jacquie. I just haven't shared it. I just haven't made that my thing. And now it almost does feel like this version of the life I've got from all of the past lives and all of these missions. I know that I am meant to lead. I know that I'm meant to lead. I know that I'm meant to be this light. And now I get to do it in something that I'm so passionate about. And I also think it's also, you know, like I did do a lot to like break my own like generational trauma and experiences of my mum. But it's almost like the universe is calling me to be braver than just being a mum to my child. I actually publicly be a mum, you know, like I need to publicly become what I wanted for so long, but then I was so scared to talk about. And this is absolutely like a mini TED talk, and I'm so sorry, but I do feel like I do know how to do that. Like I know how to have the balance, and I'm really happy with the life that I've got. And I don't very often get mum guilt. I say yes to the things I want to and say no to quite a lot. I leave events early. I haven't seen the end of an event since I've had my daughter. I leave holidays early. I leave parties early. I do what I want to do so that I can have both, and then come home. So, but I love my business. And last year, between my daughter being 2 and 3, I'd had my most successful year of business ever. So I work 2.5 days a week. So I guess what I would say to a mum is it is possible and you can do it, but you also have to be, and again, this is the irony, because until now, I don't feel like there's been enough of it, but you need to be supported by someone that gets it. That's what I didn't have. Even once I had her, I was seeking support from people that had teenage children or didn't have children. And I was like, this is just not the same. Like, I feel like I don't want to make out like I'm making excuses here, but it's not the same getting up at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock and then bouncing out of bed. It's not the same when I'm having to go to nursery because she's got a temperature. We are not in the same reality right now. And you almost then feel like you're trying to be the woe is me, but you're not. But you're like, I don't actually think you understand that she's teething and isn't eating and has a temperature constantly. I'm blending up food in my free time for her to spit it out. And then I'm on my hands and knees 24/7 just cleaning up gloop. Like that, like what? So I do feel like now I need to talk to it more because of that exact reason. So many women are like, oh, am I supposed to pretend I don't have kids? Am I supposed to only be with my kids? Do I work only in the evenings? Do I work and just let them watch telly? What am I doing? So anyway, Jacquie, that is a very long-winded way of saying I'm in it, but I also do feel like maybe I am the person tasked with changing this a little bit.
Yeah. And I noticed, so you posted about this, you've been posting about this for like the last week, 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And I remember the first post I read about it, it was almost like, because I'm really into energy, like I can feel people's energy through their content.
Wild.
Oh my God. Like I was literally like my goosebumps, like I have to message you straight. I was like, this is like your calling, you know, when you just see that in somebody else. Yeah.
So many people messaged me, and this was the thing. It's so funny, but I had this feeling, it was like between my heart and my solar plexus. I just had, for about a month, it was like a lost energy. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel like, it wasn't negative, but I just could not shake this feeling like in my heart. It was just like, it was a bit like anxiety, but like adrenaline. Do you know what I mean? It was just like stuck in here. And I would wake up in the night and I was saying to Luke, I was like, I just don't know what's happening. It's in my body. That's what I was saying. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do because it's not in my head. It's in my actual body. I just don't feel right. I don't feel like I know what to do. I would say it to so many people. I was like, I've got all these puzzle pieces, but I don't know how to make the picture. And I was so in my head with it, like what is happening? And it was really, really disorientating. I was like, I just don't. And it wasn't like this is the first time, but this was definitely the loudest. Like I've had this since I had her. And even once I had my daughter, I made an Instagram account called The Mother's Load. And I never did anything with it. So this has been in my mind for so long. I just didn't do anything. Anyway, I then said, right, let's do an energy, like a hypnosis session from my client that does past lives. She sent me a personalized session and it just landed. It was 10 minutes. I couldn't even get to the end of the 10 minutes. It was about 4 minutes in and it was so loud in my mind. I had to get my phone and start taking notes. And I was like, oh my God, like the Ambitious Mums Club. Honestly, it was just so, like I could not do any. It was like 11 o'clock at night. So I was writing all these notes and I was supposed to launch. That was on the Thursday. I was supposed to launch on the Monday. Ads were ready. Copy was ready. Opt-in pages, the team. I paid everyone to do everything. And I messaged my team on the Monday and voice note. And I said, we can't do this. This is what we're doing. How quickly can you turn this around?
Wow.
How quickly can you put all of this, like opt-in page, email, the whole lot, right? We know how long that takes. I was like, I need it. She was like, 48 hours. I was like, okay, amazing. Went to my ads, Katie, and I was like, listen, we're not going live. This isn't happening. This is what we're doing. If we wait till Thursday, is 10 days enough to promote it? Like, and she was like, yeah, cool, we'll do it. Anyway, so then on that Tuesday, so that was the Monday, the Tuesday, I did that video that you saw, and I didn't even say anything. I just basically said, look, I've been going through this period of time. I haven't been listening to myself. I haven't been listening to these messages and these intuitive nudges, but I am now. I didn't even allude to anything, did I? I didn't say what I was doing. I didn't say anything about mums, didn't talk about ambitious mums, didn't talk about
it. People just felt it, like
honestly, I had DMs, WhatsApp messages, comment. I've never had I have when I first started, I had an experience like this, and it's like that. And when I said to Luke, I was like, I feel like we've just been watching Landman on the telly. So good, by the way. It was written by the same people of Yellowstone. So good. Anyway, and I was like, I feel like I've been mining for gold and now I've finally hit. I'm like, I know where it's going. You know, it's that feeling. I'm like, okay. So I think that's the other thing that I would say, though, that, you know, it was a blessing and a curse because I built a business before I was a mum. I was holding on to that old identity so tight online, not in my real life. I'm so meant to be a mum. So like everyone in my life, I'm like obsessed, like I love it. But online, there was a part of me that was like, do people want to hear about that though? Do people just want me to be the solution still? Should I just keep doing the top tips? Should I just keep talking about money? Should I keep talking about success? Because it's always worked. So there was a part of me trying to do what I've always done because it always landed. It wasn't landing, Jacquie. It didn't feel the same. And I sort of read a post and it said, if you're ready for your next level, these will be things that you'll be feeling. Things that used to excite you don't anymore. Things that you wanted to achieve, you've got them, and now it doesn't feel the same. That was me. Yeah. And I was like, that was what this feeling was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I just feel. So for me, it wasn't like the mum guilt and the what do I do with my time? It was almost I had to catch up to my own identity in my business. It was like my brand and my business almost had to catch up. And now it's been the wildest week. I've had opportunity, everything's changed. I've had opportunities come out of nowhere. I've been asked to speak on some of the biggest stages, and these people I've known forever, and then all of a sudden they're in my DMs. It's just been amazing. So I think for sure, I don't even know, the question was about mum guilt and I've totally just rounded that. But I mean, I feel like I'm listening to what I'm meant to be doing. Like I do feel like that. And I feel that the other part though, whilst we are just here, the other reason that I didn't do that, and so many women will relate to this, the other reason that I wasn't is because my biggest fear is not being liked. That's my biggest trigger. My mum left out of choice. My dad died. My mum then had to come back and then she left again. So I'd known grief, but I'd also known abandonments. By the time I was 21, it was just me. That's my biggest thing, being rejected, right? Past Sam, inner child Sam, I really don't like that. And all of my friends have been friends for such a long time. But even now, if someone doesn't reply to me, I have that feeling of like, shit, have I done something wrong?
Yeah.
Right? So to place myself now bravely into a category where I want to talk to ambitious mums, I then know there will be women that don't pick me. That's big for me to be able to actually, but this is where I know I was meant to get to this point because and this is what I always say, but I haven't felt it for a long time. So I'd say this to my clients, but I haven't felt this in myself for a long time. The vision is bigger than that fear. Again, that's what's happened now. So my passion for helping ambitious mums outweighs my fear that I won't be picked. But until recently, that wasn't that way round. So I stayed doing what I knew worked.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I think is really important for women. We have to, the fear and the triggers for me personally, and I would challenge anyone that doesn't, but I don't think they ever go away. And when you become a mum, I feel like they amplify more because you now want to be a role model, you want to set the scene and you want to do all these things. But for me, I would say that the biggest thing that has shifted is where I'm going is now louder, brighter, more exciting than trying to stay where I was. But that was big for me, not being picked. So even this conversation, this is the other thing, right? This is the other thing. I wrote a chapter in a book months ago before this had come out. That I got that yesterday, and that was all about motherhood and IVF. I was in a membership yesterday and she was talking to me all about motherhood. On this podcast, you were like, motherhood. Last week I was on a podcast, motherhood. So the universe, I mean, hello, fine, I get it. But before I would have really felt not uncomfortable, but a little bit. I would have been like, oh, but is this what people want? Like, is this what you want from me? So whereas then when you said it today and said, look, I think we should talk about this and motherhood and the transition, I'm like, of course we're going to talk about that. Do you know what I mean?
The universe is giving you all those nudges. Literally kicking you up the arse, like go down this path.
So this is a very different version of me, and if people are listening to this, they've seen me in others, spirituality, the universe, motherhood. This is a very different, but it's always been me. This is the thing, like it's always been me. Like I've always been very spiritual. I've had, like I said, I've had medium since I was like 18. It's not, I've always done cards, but it's not. There's just been parts of myself that and again, it's all myself, it's never from anyone else, that I thought people wouldn't want or wasn't relevant. I made that decision and assumption, but it's not true. So things like being a mum or being spiritual, because they weren't part of my brand when I built it, And I think that's the other thing. And obviously this is what you do, but this is the other thing. I built a brand 10 years ago, and that brand has evolved, obviously, but it's always been that version of me. So 27-year-old me versus 37-year-old me, I was trying to, and in that time I've become a mum, I was trying to grapple with the fact that I did have a brand that was really fucking successful. And I was like, just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I was trying to hide myself or sense myself or not tell people I was a mom or not be spiritual, because I did, but it would always be in flashes. But then when I did reveal, like I just went live and was like, this is what I'm doing. Because I'm also one of those where if I have the idea, I'll execute. I'll always take action. I'm not like I'm all in. And when I did do that, and now it's out there, nothing's happened. It's being positive. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we have this idea or illusion of the brand that we've built or the business that we've built. And so I definitely was trying to protect that so fiercely. I wasn't allowing growth to happen, personal growth. I was almost not allowing myself to evolve because I thought that this was the thing that was working. But you know, it's like any brand, isn't it? Range Rover don't sell the cars they sold 10 years ago. And that's what I was trying to do. So I mean, I'm so sorry that this has absolutely just become a monologue of my thoughts for the last week. But I mean, that's where we are.
I love it. People are going to love listening to it. I think it's also giving yourself that capacity to allow those downloads to come in and to process things that are coming out. Like when you feel that nudge that I feel like there's something missing. There's something, this isn't lighting me up anymore. Like what, I don't know what it is. It's not necessarily a full pivot, but it's just allowing yourself that space to think and just be present with your thoughts. Because I think so many times, particularly as mums, we just keep going, we just keep doing all the things. We've got this massive long to-do list that we need to check everything off, but actually we need to, as women, allow ourselves space to have that feminine flow. And like I think embracing our spiritual side is such a powerful part of who we are, who we've always been. It's just we were taught generations ago that actually if you did that, you're going to be burnt on the stake. You can't be like that. So it's natural that for us we do hide certain parts of ourselves, and we're not sort of fully expressing who we're here to be, who we're here, like the impact we're here to create. So I think when you finally step into that, I feel like I'm kind of where you were when you had those nudges, because I've had this like throat thing, and I actually had a call with someone the other day. It was like, I can feel there's a blockage in your throat chakra, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is literally like bubbling up. So I'm like almost on the verge of something's coming. I don't know what it is, but
that's the thing. Yeah, it is. It's funny, isn't it? But you do feel that, like something's coming, and then it's so interesting, and you're so right. And I think as women we condemn ourselves. Right, that's the biggest thing. Like, so no one was telling me what I should or shouldn't do. It was me. I was like, you know, let's just keep this sort of rigid structure or whatever. But it is so true, and you're right. And actually, everyone that's messaged me, and I have had some men, because I've got some really strong male allies in this space, which I always talk about, because I think for women to rise, we do need strong male allies, and I've got some really, really strong male friends and peers. But it's all women that were saying. I had one of my really close friends, and she's so successful. She's Sunday Times bestseller. She's doing amazing things in the world for advocacy and inclusion, and she's just amazing. She screenshotted the video literally seconds after I posted it, WhatsApped me and said, I've been waiting for this. And I was like, you know, when you're like, okay, do you know, it's true. Like women, we want to celebrate each other, but we all have to go for our own process. Like now you've got the throat thing. Like you can't, I think that's the other thing I've learned. We can't force our way out of everything, but I definitely have tried. I'm much more in my masculine, again, from my childhood and protection and all of that. And it's a great gift to me being in my masculine energy. But I am also really funny and emotional, and I cry at everything. And and I think sometimes those soft bits, I just try and power myself through. Like, no, let's go. So I think, but then like you had in the throat, mate, my body, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't ignore it. So I think as women, we do need to remember majority of us aren't trying to like troll each other and like condemn each other and burn each other at the stake metaphorically. Now most of us are trying to say, you know what I mean, come on, like someone's got to do it. Someone's got to go first. So and I love that. So anyway, again, it's 11:11, but I'm you've asked me questions and I've just absolutely just ransacked the idea of any form of an interview. But yeah, hopefully it's been useful in some capacity.
Definitely. I think one thing I would love to finish with is for anyone that is in that newborn stage, that literally your entire life revolves around this little being at the moment. What would you say to that person right now? Because I think so many times, I know for myself, I've had 3 children. I started my business with my first who was a newborn, and then I've gone through phases in my own business where I've had a newborn baby and other kids. And I've put so much pressure on myself because I've so wanted to create that success at the end. Like I know it's there, and almost trying to force and push. So I would love to know what you would say to somebody that is in that stage, because I know I've had loads of conversations with people that are in a similar stage right now that are just like, I'm so desperate for that thing. What would you say to that person?
Oh, such a good question. I would say a couple of things. If I think about my experience, and if I look back on that, and we probably will only have one child. We've got embryos frozen, but I think because it took us so long and we're a bit older now, we'll have one and done. So like, and we wanted a daughter, and like, she's happy and healthy. But coming at this probably from a perspective of not doing it again, but if I was going to do it again, this is also what I would want to remember. The thing that worked really well for me was I had one day a week where I wasn't a mum and I was doing the thing that I was doing, right? So for you could be starting the business, you could be sustaining the business, you could be doing whatever, exercising or whatever. I had Mondays. So Mondays, pretty much from when she was born, I worked. And then every other day, I was with her. For me and for my mental health, and to support my recovery, I needed something else that wasn't reminding me that I was a mum. I needed a little bit of distraction. I needed to use my brain. I needed to be of service. And that actually really did help me. Really helped me, actually. Really helped me. Because I had to be of service. So it was like, let's just leave it at the door. So one thing for me in those newborn bits, when I definitely had those times, was I had one day a week protected time for me to do the thing that allowed me to remember my like genius, my value, right? And because I did that, I also then wasn't trying to steal time away from these precious moments. Like she'd be napping and you steal time, and you're like, let's do this on my phone. Whereas she slept, she had contact naps till she was 9 months.
I feel you.
I love it, right? So she didn't go in her cot for a daytime nap until she was 9 months. And that was more because one, she was getting a bit too heavy. And two, I had got to the point where I felt like I'd had my emotional, like I was like, okay, I'm ready to just like sit and chill. But I didn't have to steal that time, when they're that little, and like, there's still so much to do in the house, like cooking and cleaning and all of that. And I didn't want my business to, let's quickly do this while she's asleep or do that. So if it could work in your life, I would say, even if it's a morning or an afternoon, some protected time for you to do the thing that you're feeling frustrated that you can't do would be really helpful, because you won't always be thinking about what you can't be doing. And then when you are back with your newborn baby, you can be present. And the other piece of advice I would give is, which someone said to me, and when they said it, I was like, you are chatting absolute breeze, but it's so true, is the days are so painfully long, aren't they? And when you're there and it's literally 1 p.m. and then it's 1:30 p.m. and then it's 2 and you're like, wow. But the days are so long, but the years are so short.
Yeah.
Like so short. Like even when I think now, like she's going to be 4. Like, are we okay? I mean, obviously it's not till December, but still, she's like in her 3rd year of life. It's mental. And I think when it's done, and like even in my office now, there's a picture of her with her cute little chubby cheeks, and like she was such a cute little thing. And now she's like a little girl. It does go so quick. And one thing I'm really grateful for is I didn't rush through it. I didn't. I was there for every moment. And the only time I wasn't at the beginning, the newborn phase, was because I was working or building something for our future. And when I look back at that, I don't have any regret. And if you are in that phase, that's what I would want for you. I wouldn't change anything, Jacquie, about her. newborn. I wouldn't change a thing. I fucking loved it. And it was the right thing for us and our family and for her. And I got to be there. But it's because I did this protected time. I was like, I'm working on a Monday. And people said to me at the start, I came back after 3 weeks. It's too soon, don't do it. For me, it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
So you'll get judgment, whatever, but it worked for me. I was able to do the thing I love. I was able to provide. I was able to be of service. I was able to do me, and I was able to have a newborn. So whatever that looks like for you, please remember that your only job isn't to be a mum. Your only job isn't to be with your newborn 24/7. And even if it's just 2 hours and you dedicate time to doing a couch to 5K, or you dedicate time to learning how to bake cakes or bake bread or whatever, it doesn't have to be business related, but you need time where you get to make progress in something that isn't just your baby. You need to be able to create that purpose and that time, because when your partner or friends or people go back to work and you've got that resentment of you're at home doing nothing, it stopped me having that as well, because I did have my version of that. So they would be my piece of advice.
Amazing. That is going to be so helpful for anyone that is just in that phase of just feeling like they're in the trenches at the moment.
Get some good TV as well.
Yes.
Because that saved me. I binged watched so many series, and I loved that. So get some good series. You can't always feed your brain with podcasts and books and self-development. Allow yourself to just watch trash TV and just soak up this bit of time, because it will be gone in a flash of an eye. And then, like yours now, they're at school. She'll be at school soon, and then I'll wish she was at home with me.
Yeah.
So it's that, like, just, yeah, they won't be that little forever. And as soon as they start talking, you will never have a moment's silence again.
They fill every space.
Oh man alive, do they? So enjoy being able to watch the telly when they don't know what's on. Now it's like, Peppa Pig or Ben and Holly or whatever the thing is. Whereas at the start, you can still watch your own show. So enjoy that 3 months of having the telly.
Get all the box sets out.
You know what I mean? Get the box sets out.
Sam, you are one of our lovely speakers at Light Leaders 2026. What can we expect from you on the stage?
Oh, I am going to be talking about the 3 biggest hidden costs in your pursuit for success. And what you should be avoiding when you want to create success in a way that lasts. That's what I'm going to be talking about.
Amazing. I cannot wait. Oh, Sam, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been a long episode, but one that I just think is so, so needed. I think, like you say, when you are going through that stage of trying to scale a sustainable business and build something incredible whilst also juggling 1,000,001 things and school and pickups and nursery and all the things that come with it, it's just a lot, isn't it? So yeah, this is going to be really helpful. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Where can we find you online? Where's the best place to connect with you?
Oh, just Instagram. Just come and connect with me on Instagram.
Perfect. I'll put all the links in the show notes below, guys. Please do check out Sam on Instagram, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.